Hey up, this is my 300th video, but only my second vlog. 300 videos, 2 vlogs, oh dear. Anyway, sort it out one day. Aren't you fed up of people telling you what it was like in the past when they weren't there? Oh, in the 17th century this happened. Oh, when they built castles this happened. Oh, in the caveman ages this happened. Oh, this is what dinosaurs look like. You know nothing. I'm here now, and now to you is the past. So I'm living in your history. So I've been thinking, maybe I should do videos of what it's like in the past, when the past is still the present. As in, some boffin telling you what it was like at the Big Bang. What does he know? He wasn't there. Just guessing. I'm here now. I'm here now. In this past, I am here now. This is called shaving, by the way. So, what I can do is I can talk about what things were like in the past. Now, when now isn't the past. If you get me, you get me. So what to start with? That is a big question. Could start with the beginning of the universe. But to be fair, that was millions of years ago and I wasn't there. Or maybe do aeroplanes. But I don't know anything about aeroplanes, so I'm not going to do aeroplanes. So I've come up with an idea. And the idea is, where we're going, we need roads. So this vlog is about cars. It all started about 100 years ago when rich people in houses like this first started buying cars. I say 100 years ago, it's 100 years ago from now. So roughly 1910, 1916. So the rich people bought cars. They were shit. They were really shit. But they were cars. Eventually, car prices came down and poor people could buy them. And they bought them in their thousands. The only problem was, poor people's houses weren't designed for people to have cars. So they used to dump them everywhere. There were cars everywhere. They were just dumped outside people's houses. It caused mass riots. There were people dying. There was murders. There was loads of things going on. Just cars everywhere, everywhere. Cars, 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 cars. It was bonkers. And that's another reason why cars failed. We have roads. Roads are made out of very hard stuff, like stuff that's hard that you can drive on. There's roads everywhere. What we have is a little road here, which is an A road, and a big road there, which is a motorway, which takes lorries, as you've just seen, and other exciting vehicles. Note that lights were on cars as well. All cars. White lights meant they were coming towards you, and red lights meant they were going away from you. Yeah, that's how it was. I forgot then, because it was a long while ago. And there are more roads like this, which is a racetrack. This was not classed as a road. To the untrained eye, this looks like a river. But it's not a river. This is a road. But this is a road not for cars. Hell no. This is a really old road for boats. I'm not kidding. We used to get around on boats. Little boats. Like that one. That's called a barge. And another one with some shit music. And yet more barges. And all these barges are from the 1900s, which is the 18th century. There was one problem with canals, and that was getting to and from them. You had to run through all the flies that infested the forests and the woods around there. And if you didn't, you get eaten alive. And I mean, eaten alive. Oh my God, save me. But with a car, all you do is you get in, shut the door, and there's no flies. That's why cars took off. You didn't have to walk through forests and woods. By the time 2016 had come along, the government decided that the best thing to do was to make all cars electric. So they paid lots of money to have these installed in town centres. At 2016, Wigan had 2. So if you were the third person in Wigan to have an electric car, which used very corrosive acid and precious metals in its construction anyway, you were screwed. You wouldn't be able to get home. Anyway, other cars, and most cars, including the one behind me, used petrol. So this is where you got your petrol from for your cars. Petrol, of course, was a fossil fuel which destroyed the planet. But you're not allowed to film in petrol stations. So I'm in disguise walking past. Cars were used for many things, mainly collecting shopping and food and stuff like that from supermarkets, like this one, for example. But they were also used to get people to go to and from work. And most cars only ever had one person in them at any one time, even though some of them were really big, like that one. Some are really small. They're even smaller than my head. It's a mini car. Look at that, it's a mini car. It's tiny. It's like a toy car. It's like a toy car. There were also really big ones as well that used to congregate in places like this called a bus station. Not all of them were big, but they used to carry up to 80 people. Some cars were very, very big indeed, and they towed big boxes on wheels to take stuff around. Stuff that you could use like food, water, beds. Of course, you probably don't know what any of that is. I'll have to do them on other videos. But anyway, they were called lorries, not cars. There were some that were na ones. These ones are police cars, police being the law enforcement of the time. And ambulance ones too, like that, with the flashing lights on. They were ambulance cars, and they took poorly people to places like hospital. That's what we used in the older days, to take people who were poorly to go and get better. There was another vehicle, and that was the third emergency service, and they were called fire engines. And they were big and red and had nana things and carried water to put fires out and stuff like that. It was very, very entertaining, and there was a very famous fireman called Fireman Sam, and the world loved Fireman Sam. He was a hero. Search it up on Google or whatever you have now to look things up on. But that was the last of the emergency services, even though the AA said they were as well. Nutters. Anyway, that's it for that bit. There were other types of vehicles as well, such as trains, which ran on tracks. They used to carry up to 15,000 people in London, around about 20 everywhere else in the UK. The big thing was, everyone wanted cars, but they weren't free. There was no such thing as free cars or a free lunch or anything, but everyone wanted cars so they could go places like on motorways or holidays or to the shops or to get food or whatever. But cars not being free meant you had to buy them, and buy them meant using cash, so we had to get cash. So you go to a car showroom like this to buy a nice shiny new one, or if you didn't have any money, you could buy them from a second-hand car salesperson, usually called Dodgy Dave. Bit cheaper, but the wheels might fall off. Rather than buy them, some people would rob them and then set fire to them. Sadly, I can't find an example. However, I have got a burnt out pram that shows you roughly what I'm talking about. So yeah, there were some bad people in 2016. A major problem of all these cars was that when people went places, there was nowhere to put them. So someone came up with a brilliant idea of putting the ground really flat and then putting this hard stuff down that I've just shown you what roads are made out of, and then painting lines on it so cars can park there. And they called it a car park. And everywhere had a car park. There were more car parks in the world than there were sausages. Well, maybe not sausages, but anyway, you get the idea. Car parks, massive expanses of land just wasted for people to park their cars on. And that's one reason why the car eventually failed. Although car parks were a new idea because cars were new back in the day, they'd had car parks before, but for boats can see behind me there, a boat park. Of course, with all the cars around, we had to control them, so they come up with this brilliant idea of traffic lights. Green means go and red meant stop. Although if you're in London, the capital of Britain at the time, nah, that didn't work. They also come up with road signs, which were roads that were dotted around, so people would know what to expect. Again, if you lived in London, completely pointless. They even had road signs for canals, which weren't even roads in the 18th century. They're a bit hidden though, because that's where the road was, the water road. Obviously cars haven't been around for the entire time humans have been around. So prior to cars, well, from the beginning of history, people had to walk. Now I don't know that for definite, but I know there were no cars, so I assume people had to walk everywhere. And then they started using horses. Like these. Well, except bigger and stronger and faster. The main problem with walking, of course, was the rain. When it rained, you got wet. Rain, water coming from the sky. Obviously you don't have that in the future. But anyway, what you did was, instead of walking, get in your car, shut the door, and you're dry. So obviously, I've got one as well, because you have to have one. But other people do weird things with them. Even at the time, people were thought to be a bit strange, because some people wash their car every weekend with water and soap and other things. They were nutters. Other people weren't quite as fussy, to be fair. Now there were a lot of people who in the early 20th century said that cars were making people lazy. If they had to go more than a quarter of a mile, half a click, they would get a car, they would use a car, and that was bad for the environment and everything else. And they're like, well, yeah, but it's not like people were buying bad food and not getting out the cars or anything. Well, yeah, okay, but I would never do that. I'm going through the drive-through. Some people even use them to eat food in, like a mobile dining room. Idiots. That bit was for the vlog, which is already out now, because the vlog will be my 300th video, because I've got 299 videos on YouTube, and the vlog will be number 300, so this will only be put up after the vlog's been put up. So there you go, you got a sneak preview in reverse. It's like time travel, but different. The average life expectancy of a car in 2016 was about 10 to 20 years, unless it had an accident. But either way, they all ended up in the same place, and the same place was a scrapyard, where all the cars were stacked up and bits taken off them to rescue other cars. Didn't always work, but it was a form of recycling. That's it for the video. You've done very well to stick this far. I do appreciate it. I've just noticed there's some fingers up there. It's not, it's just, yeah, don't worry about it. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's only the second video I've edited like this. It's over 50 clips, it's took me a while to do. But anyway, it is greatly appreciated. If you want to sub, don't feel you have to, though, it's not important. And I will see you for vlog number 3. Although in the meantime I will be doing burger eating challenges and other eating challenges as well. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.